And you know, Sean and Anthony, a great pickup on that, to mention that. And the funny thing is, what makes a person great if they're able to do something under pressure, but also to do it with longevity? You had both. You not only did it under pressure, just the way you described, with that legendary game, but when you look at Sean's career, and it spanned 25 years from the time he started with the USFL to the time he retired, 25 years. His punts, punting yards, and to your point, punts that landed inside the 20 are all among the NFL's top 5 leaders in each category for your entire career. That's amazing.
Well, again, you know, I was very lucky. I mean, I did my part. You know, thanks very much. Amazing. I did my part. But other than that, you have to have so much help. I had great long snappers, great protection. As I mentioned, every year I had to go to training camp, stand next to 1 or 2 guys, and win your job. And then after that, you still have to punt well and have coaches pick you. You know, I was always grateful, you know, that the coaches picked me to do the job, because every year in camp, when I was with another guy or two, they were good enough to play. You know, people don't realize that. So I never took it for granted. I think that helped me. You know, I never thought I had it made. And again, when you play for Bill Parcells, he's a terrific coach, as all of the coaches I played for basically were. But he'll never let you think you have it made, and it has to be that way. You
just mentioned all of the coaches that you play for. It is amazing. You played for Jim Mora, and you won 2 championships when you were in the USFL. Right. Chuck Knox, Tony Dungy, Mike Holmgren, Andy Reid, Mike Martz, on and on. Coughlin. It's just amazing. And then obviously, what we wanted to ask you is, we go over to the next graphic if we could. You just alluded to it, where the kick that goes wide right, Scott Norwood, as a kicker, what do you, is there any little piece of you that feels bad for him? I mean, he's wearing the other opposing uniform, and you want to win that Super Bowl as desperately as you can. What's going through your mind as you see wide right?
Well, certainly we were hoping he would miss the kick. And we knew, especially Matt Barr, who was our field goal kicker, and myself, that statistically, a 48-yard field goal on grass, which is different than turf, is less than a 50% make, not to mention all the pressure of winning the Super Bowl on top of it. You know, so we wanted him to miss, obviously, but after the game, I can still visualize back to Matt and I sitting at our stools and so thrilled we won, and we just kind of looked at each other and just thought, man, it's so wrong. Scott Norwood's a terrific guy and a great kicker, but what a shame. Fortunately, he missed, which allowed us to win, but at the same time, so unfair that one missed kick for him now has to be such a terrible thing for not only the season, but even years after.
Years after, right. You're exactly right. As a matter of fact, if we could go over to our next graphic, Sean, every time I turn on the TV, you're on some program, but I think I might even stump you. I mean, do you know that indirectly, you were on Everyone Loves Raymond? Because there was an episode, I bet you the people in our audience would know this. Okay. Do you remember the episode when Ray and Deborah are watching their wedding video, when all of a sudden the tape cuts out to the opening kickoff of the game, and Deborah screams, she says, "Did you do something?" And Ray says, "No." And then she says, "Then why am I seeing football?" Later on in the episode, Ray has a group of his friends over to watch the tape of the game, and just as Scott Norwood misses his kick wide right, the tape goes back to the wedding video, and now they're upset with him because why? He goes, "You know how it ends. You know how it ends." Wow. So you were on Everybody Loves Raymond. But as you said, that gentleman will be defined by that moment. You know, unfortunately, but that comes with the turf. When you guys play ball, you're in the public eye, and what you do is documented forever. Yeah, there's no question. I mean, one of the things I always loved about pro football is it was so legit and so true in that you have to perform, you have to play well. Everybody sees it, you know, and it's nothing that you can get around as far as in the end you having to do your job and perform well, and if you don't, everyone sees it. If you do, you do. And you know, I kind of like that, because for the most part, if you do what was necessary in order to get ready and went out and did what you were supposed to do, that was able to be seen. Sean, we're going to go over to our next graphic. I'm sure we have a lot of young viewers that would love to be in the NFL someday, love to be in your shoes. Sean, it's amazing that you did not play organized football until you were a senior in high school.
Yeah, I don't know if if the audience knows or the people watching now. So take us through it. How did you get interested in punting? I read that you grew up in Maryland. You idolized Johnny Unitas, but you didn't go out for.
And Sean, that's actually your high school. That's Lock Raven High School. Sean's saying he thought he was going on a sports show. This is your life. We actually have your high school teacher, Mrs. Crabtree.
Come on out.
She says you didn't turn in a report.
That picture right there, you talk about bringing back memories. I mean, back in August of 1978, I'm going to get my senior picture taken. Parked right in that parking lot and walked in, and as I was leaving, by coincidence, I bumped into the football coaches, and they said, you know, we heard you can kick well, we'd love you to play. All your baseball buddies played because I played baseball, and you know, that's how I got started. If he'd have never asked me, I'd have never played, and you know, every once in a while when, you know, maybe you don't get a break or you're not happy about something, I try to remind myself that that was a pretty good break right there.
You were basically self-taught. I read that you kicked footballs over your volleyball net in the backyard.
Actually, the way I really got started, which sometimes I forget until I'm asked, the Baltimore Colts won Super Bowl V on a last-second field goal. I was 9 years old. So me and every other kid in Baltimore, we wanted to be that guy. He was the hero. So we would always go out, and we didn't have goalposts, but they had an old volleyball net, and we would kick the ball over the volleyball net pretending we won the Super Bowl. And we would do this every fall, and it was something that was fun to do, and you know, I kind of had a knack to do it, and you know, we all have a knack to do something, whether it's art or electronics or, you know, music or whatever, but that's always something that kind of came easy to me, and I liked doing it and practiced. And then that day in August of '78 where, you know, if I'd have hit a red light or that guy would have had to take another picture, you know, there's a million little things that could have prevented me from walking right into them. Or he could have never asked me. He could have said, hey, Sean, nice to see you. We'll see you in the fall. So that was a nice break that day.